Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're checking out a free plugin. This from Soldier Sound is S-Pulsar. Soldier Sound is a new adventure from our friends over at Tech Evasion. You'll notice in just a minute when we dive into the DAW that this plugin looks very similar to other things that we've seen from them before. But this plugin is more so designed to help us when we're in the production phase, not necessarily the mixing phase like some of their other things. Not that you can't use those in the production phase. S-Pulsar gives us a lot of pumping action where we can do this with just one plugin that's not sidechained, but is linked to our song's beats per minute. And if you have that set up in your session, then this is perfect. If you're just going by the default typical 120 beats per minute, you're probably going to want to adjust some things so that this plugin works really well. But again, best part, it's free. So let's stop the talking and dive into the DAW. So here it is from Soldier Sounds. This is S-Pulsar. Like I said, it probably looks really familiar to some of the Tech Evasion plugins we've seen before. But let's go over the controls and then we'll get into the sounds. And for you guys, as I've been doing, use the chapters if you want to jump ahead to the audio examples. All right, let's go over the controls. So obviously in the middle is our effect depth. This is how much of the pumping or pulsing that we're going to be injecting or modifying into our signal. Right now, I just have this on a track that's not going to do something, but we're going to do this on our bass in a little bit in this bass and drum loop that I created real fast. So right in the center, effect depth, this is how much of the effect is actually happening, how much of that pulse you're going to hear. Rate is exactly what you think. It's the pulse rate based on your beats per minute for this plugin. And you can change this. It can be full bars, half notes, 3/8 notes. And this is where things can be really interesting and you can create some really funky custom patterns. 3/16, 1/6, 1/8, 1/12. You can see these are not normal or divided by 4 kinds of times that we're looking at here. 1/6, 1/12. These are things that we don't typically see, like when we go into our quantize menu. You don't usually see 1/6 or 1/12. So we have that here inside rate. Offset is the percentage difference to the rate. So if you have it at a quarter note with a 0% offset, it's going to happen on every quarter note. But you start changing this to a 25% offset. Now it's not on the downbeat of that quarter note, it's on the next 16th note. So now we're on the E of whatever beat we're on. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a. If we keep going, you can go up to 50%. Now you have the end of our 16th notes within our quarter note. 1 E and a, 1 E and a. And then of course it caps out at 75. Now you're on the of these 16th notes. I hope that's all making sense. Pretty sure it is. Then if we go down to the bottom, length is how long the pulse or the push or the pumping is actually hanging on to the source signal. This can go all the way down to 25% or all the way up to 75%, because if it was 100%, just mute the thing, right? And if it's at 0%, then you don't need this. So it lets you blend in the length of this pump that you're going to get. So we're just going to leave it at its defaults. 50 is fine. Double click, enter in what you want. Nice and easy. On the right-hand side is the output. Maybe you just need a little boost or you need to bring the volume down after creating these pulses. And then on bottom in the middle is this really cool mid-side slider. You can move this to either direction and only apply the effect to wherever you're leaning. So if you just want this pulse on your mids, for example, then you could do that. Slide it all the way to the mids, and whatever's up the center, that's going to get this pulse, and anything on the sides is going to be unaffected. Want it the other way around? Easy. Just take the slider and go the other way or anywhere in between. And if you have it at the center, it's it's both mids and sides. It's just everything. And that's it. It's a really simple plugin. 5, 6 controls maybe. There's an A and a B side, so you can mess around with some stuff. Built-in bypass, and then just the 3 buttons is all of our usual things. If we want to go into some of our presets, we can do this, like a reverb pulse. That sounds really cool. So now we've gone over all the controls, let's get into how this thing sounds. And I can take this one off because we're not using it anyway. Like I said earlier, this is super easy and simple bass and drum loop that I put together. Here's how it sounds without anything going on. Right? Real easy. Basic drum loop, really basic bass thing going on. But the bass is what I want pumping. I want this pulse to happen. So I have S pulsar on my bass already, and I'm going to activate it. And I was messing with some things before. I'm leaving it on a quarter note because I really want you guys to hear it. I have 0 offset because I want it on that downbeat where the kick drum is. I did that on purpose. The length I left to 50%, and then I just affected how much depth or how much of this effect was happening, and I made sure that it was going to the mid. Now, yes, it's a bass that's, a synth bass, so there might be some side information, but really I just wanted everything in the center because I wanted it out of the way of my kick and snare, right? Something we usually do when we're doing some side chaining anyway, but this has no side chaining in it. It's just following the tempo. So we've talked too much already. Let's get into the audio. I'm going to start with it off, and then I'm going to drop it in after a loop. So as we were going through, I was changing a lot of different things, but you can hear how this is essentially sidechain ducking, but without having to do all of the routing. So if you're just looking for that nice bass pump where the kick is coming through and the bass is out of the way, instead of doing the sidechaining, you could use this free plugin and just dial in a quarter note, 0 offset kind of ducking action on your bass. Now, if you have a complex kick pattern, maybe you want to go the old-fashioned way, but if it's something dancey or very straightforward like this plugin can do a lot to make it that much easier. And you don't have to use it on your instruments. You can do this on your effects. You can do this on your mix. You can do it on your vocals. Really, you can do it on any source that you just want pumped or pulsed out of the way to give it some movement, to give it some life, to have it bounce with the rest of your song. So there it is. That is the Soldier Sound S Pulsar. And it's free. So go ahead, use the link down in the description. Go get it now, add it to your arsenal. And if you ever need to do any kind of pulsing, use S Pulsar. You can just dial it right into your song's tempo and get stuff out of the way and moving and make your production dancey. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. Want to talk more plugins, maybe some production tips? Join the Discord. There's a link down in the description. Want to work with me on your next project? I'd love to work with you. Let's get that process going at timflansbaum.com. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.